Air Force, he has also crafted a highly successful civilian career as a corporate executive. Chuck has continued to serve his brothers and sisters in arms as an active supporter of the U.S. military in the Gulf Wars and most recent conflicts as well. Mr. Wooten gained national attention with an open letter response to Congressman Paul Ryan, which became viral and awakened a passion within the American veteran community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Chuck Wooten.
You all are very fortunate today. I've got this speech down to 45 minutes. Friends, family, neighbors, fellow Arizonans, thank you very much for coming out today. I respect your time, and I'm going to endeavor to get to the point and stay there. So I wrote this little letter to Paul Ryan. You may have heard about that letter online, or you may have even seen me on TV talking about it. When I crafted a response to his ill-timed and poorly planned request for a cash donation, he just raided the earned retirement payments of America's warfighter in a lame attempt to balance the budget. I had no idea the nerve that I was going to strike at the very heart of this nation. A nerve so tender that the overwhelming response from hurting people all over the nation resulted in a collective, deafening rebuke of our government that said, enough is enough. Hello, Arizona 2nd Congressional District. I'm Chuck Wooten, and I'm running for Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running for Congress to give Arizonans a real voice, a voice that is rooted and grounded in traditional American values, a voice that so dearly wants to look at a self-serving band of quote-unquote representatives in the eye and hold them accountable.
Yeah.
A voice so strong that it cannot be ignored. I'm also running for Congress to give this district a real choice. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have to settle. We do not have to concede to the big money Washington establishment to choose our candidates for us. This district is rising up and taking charge of whom they send to Washington to represent them. No longer is it acceptable to be forced to vote for the lesser of two. No longer do voters have to ask who's going to do the least amount of damage. I'm running for Congress to take on the joblessness that's decaying this district. We need real job growth effort, and it's obviously not coming from the hands of those that have been representing you. Business-friendly tax policies, free market initiatives, where the government gets out of the way and allows the economy to function, but are a couple things we can do to improve the prospects of jobs for everyone. And I don't mean part-time jobs with no benefits either. The middle class here in this district has been on a slippery slope of decline for far too long. And all I have to say about that to the current representation is, what have you done for us lately? A family struggling, working multiple part-time jobs, if they're fortunate enough to find them, are sacrificing their very quality of life just to survive. And ladies and gentlemen, I say that's enough. Hand in hand with the abysmal job market in the district is the effect of Obamacare. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, I refuse to call it the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
President Obama and the Democratic Party own this debacle, and we're going to hold them accountable. But I want to talk about the sudden the rebranding that this has gone through. I want to talk about the Affordable Care Act. Let's dissect it, shall we? It's anything but affordable. Millions of Americans, including our family, friends, and neighbors in District 2, are in sticker shock by the sharp increase of their premium payments. That sticker shock was unceremoniously buried in the bowels of the website. Those Americans who actually really believed that they were going to receive free health care found out free was pretty darn expensive. Let's think for a moment on the term care. Can it be called care when you can't get an appointment when you need it? Can it be called care when you can't see your own doctor? Can it be called care when doctors are leaving the profession in droves? Can it be called care when the government mandates who you can see, what you can be seen for, and when you can be seen? If that's the definition of care, the representatives that voted for this need a new dictionary. Last, we're going to look at the word act. The only acting that's gone on by your representatives, acting as if they were a real concern for your family's well-being. Acting like this is better for you because you obviously are not capable of making sound decisions on your own. Is the ruling class of the United States a babysitter for you and your family? Well, they think they are, and they're demanding to be. And one last thought on the word act. If you haven't done so already, I urge you to act by listening to the people who tried to negotiate that $600 billion website. The only act regarding Obamacare is the act of fraud on the American people. If you've seen the news in the recent days, you've noticed that so-called immigration reform has popped up yet again. This time it's on the heels of an apparent compromise on a path to legalization. Ladies and gentlemen, we work, live, worship, raise families, and recreate in ground zero of illegal immigration. We know firsthand the ill effects of our porous border. By our federal government not enforcing the law of the land, they have effectively put a giant neon "Come on in" sign right on our border and putting our homes at risk. Our communities are continuing a downward spiral because of our place in the infamous drug corridor. We're living our daily lives in a defensive posture while our government supplies Mexico with weapons. Even after the death of Border Patrol Agent Brian Terry, the arrogant elites of Washington thumb their nose at the plight of this district. And I say enough. No longer will we sit by being ignored as the Washington elite strike yet again another backroom immigration deal that's going to steal even more scarce jobs from Americans in this district without first securing the border.
That's right.
As your congressman, I will join with the legislators of every state and form a coalition to create an alternate solution to achieve what the government refuses to do. I will not support any immigration reform proposals that do not include a secure border as the first gauntlet to be cleared before there's any discussion of a path to anything. On this, we must stand firm or unnecessarily risk the safety and security of our cities, towns, farms, ranches, neighborhoods, and homes. Finally, I want to discuss the state of the United States military because it's of vital importance not only to the district, but also our nation. Americans agree that we are infinitely indebted to our nation's warfighters for the very fabric of our freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, as a senior leader of the United States Air Force, I devoted my life to the service of this country, both in uniform and out. In the past 5 years, I, along with you, have witnessed a deliberate and irresponsible dismantling and weakening of our military forces. The approach this administration has taken, supported by the House and the Senate, is nothing short of appalling. Ladies and gentlemen, I've personally heard from tens of millions of service members, past and present, from all over the world in the last couple of months. And I'm reminded, in 2011, President Obama said this: "We must not, we cannot, and we will not balance the budget on the backs of veterans." But not only did he sign into law a budget that included a reduction to the earned deferred income to military retirees, his Department of Defense, at this very moment, crafting a wholesale plan to remove all retirees from their earned TRICARE medical insurance. These are the same retirees who were promised free health care for life in exchange for 20 years of faithful sacrifice and service. His Department of Defense is at this very moment crafting a plan to close every stateside commissary for both active duty and retirees, who will see an immediate increase in food costs of 36%, and there's no increase in pay. His Department of Defense is covertly and systematically dismantling the senior command structures of every branch of service. I could go on, but I'm pretty confident you get my message here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an enemy that's determined to see us either converted or dead. And they don't care which. Until that threat is completely eliminated, we're making a tragic mistake in weakening our nation's defenses. Send me to Washington. I'll deliver on your behalf a knowledgeable, common sense approach to smartly reducing waste instead of sacrificing our nation's military readiness. Let me give you an example. This administration is spending $7 billion on the mass destruction of serviceable, that means usable, weapons and equipment. I know the right things to do and the right way to do them, and I will do them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you today for your support. I'm asking you for your vote. And I'm asking you for your trust to send me to Washington as your congressman. I'm not running on a slick slogan or campaign, but rather on real qualities that you and millions of Americans are crying out for. These qualities have served me well in both my military and business careers, and I offer them to you to serve this district. The first quality I'm offering the people of District 2 is trust. The government of the United States has broken trust with you in almost every single area of your life. In the absence of trust, there is nothing. Trust is earned. There's no amount of rhetoric that can restore it. It's earned by consistent action. Send me to Washington, and I'll work tirelessly to earn and restore your trust in government. The second quality I'm bringing to this congressional race is leadership. Genuine leadership is a critical missing quality in Washington and in this district. Ladies and gentlemen, my military and business record stands on its own. I am a proven leader. The third quality, and what's been sorely absent in the entire House chamber for too long, is guts. Send me to Washington as your congressman, and watch me stare down the status quo and have the guts to stand up for the Arizonans who sent me there. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be forced to make a choice, both in the upcoming Republican primary and in the general election. That choice doesn't have to be difficult. The way I see it, you really have three options. You can elect the same thing you have today and get the same results you got yesterday, or You can opt for the Washington establishment, and they're all too eager to compromise and too focused on winning the next election instead of representing you now. Or you can elect a candidate who is not in it because he needs a job, not in it because he's using this important congressional seat as a stepping stone to another seat, and not interested in being a career politician or achieving personal glory. But you can elect a candidate who is committed to improving his community. You can elect a candidate who's fearless. You can elect a candidate who is a person that cannot be bought. You can elect a candidate who's a person whose word is his bond. And you can elect a candidate who's endowed with the spine of steel. So, ladies and gentlemen, I say the choice is simple. Send me to Washington to stand up for you. Send me to Washington to get your will done. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes. Scottish warrior William Wallace, if you've seen the movie Braveheart, you know this. When he was getting ready to go into battle, they said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm going to pick a fight." Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fight we can win. So I thank you. I wish God's blessings on all of you, and God bless the United States of America.